All right, ladies and gentlemen, we've got the bad boy of Ryan back again on the other side of the coin, and we're going to talk about the three at the back system. Some of these journalists, it's time to it's time to put them back in their place, and also some of the fans who have a misconception about this particular system. So, let's talk about this.
All right. Here we go, back again on the other side of the coin.
All right, welcome back to the other side of the coin, Ryan, my man. How you doing, bro?
Very good, Ms. Happy to be back here once again doing a tactical show. We have a great show lined up for everybody, so just buzzing, bro.
100%, 100%. Not just the tactical show, but I think it would be good to give, you know, our opinion on some of these scenarios as well. And I'd love to hear what the live chat is thinking about it, and down the track, whoever's watching it as well. I'd love to hear from you guys in regards to how you feel about the system and everything that we bring out today. Right, let's get cracking straight into this, right? I don't want to dilly-dally too much with the particular topic. The reason I brought this up, Ryan, is because I saw a particular tweet a couple of days ago from Simon Phillips, but it was a extra from an article from Jacob Steinberg. Now, Jacob Steinberg, Ryan, is a particular, and not just Jacob Steinberg, Matt Law, Jacob Steinberg, Simon Johnson. These are some of the journalists that I don't mind their transfer news, because they don't go around just fibbing when it comes to transfer news. But I do sometimes wonder when they come up with their opinion pieces, and I get a little bit annoyed at certain things that they say. So this is the latest that Jacob Steinberg has said. Inevitably, some of the focus will fall on Tuchel's approach. Chelsea's head coach likes to use a back three with two midfield sitters guarding the defense, and the system can feel sterile at times. 1 out of 2, sterile at times. Just remember that. Much of the creative emphasis is on the wing backs, but being a forward in this side does not always look like much fun. At times, it looks as if Chelsea are reliant on set pieces or one of their front three conjuring something special out of nothing. This is 2 out of 2. And it's mad. And as you can see, there's plenty of comments, some people agreeing with it, which is mad. I just want to quickly showcase to you what I wrote off the back of that, because I saw that and I was like, oh, that's quite funny. This is what I tweeted out. You know what's lazy take by the journalists? Three at the back football system is sterile at times. Try telling that to Conte Spurs and how sterile they are. These journalists don't understand the roles of the players and too focused on how the formation looks pre-game. Silly. This is what I want to talk to you about, Ryan. The roles of the players in a back three. We want to showcase, obviously, other teams like Spurs and PSG are playing with a back three. Before we get into the tactical board, I just want to ask you, Ryan, do you think too many people get too focused on how the formation looks pre-game when they show it on TV, that it's 3-4-3, and they already have this perception that, oh, that's a bit defensive, isn't it?
Yeah, I mean, there's two perceptions really of Chelsea, not Chelsea, but a back three. One perception is that there isn't enough players in attack. There's just only the attacking three doing it on their own. The wing backs don't come to support. There's only three at the back, two sitters. That's one perception. And when you kind of show that that perception is false, and you show them how much players are in attack, then they come up with the argument, oh, well, the attackers are not in the correct position. And then when you show them that their role don't really change much when it comes down to attributes needed to be good in that position, then they just get angry at you and call you a waffler.
The waffler. And you're right, man, right? And it's great that you're bringing all of this out. The roles is what I want to focus on, because you just touched on it right there, Ryan, that people don't understand that the roles are not any much different. Just because you may see Callum Hudson-Odoi in the right wing-back position, you think, oh my God, he ain't a wing-back. The role is no different to a winger, and we're going to get to this role. Ryan, this is PSG's setup right now. Three at the back. Kimpembe, Marquinhos, Sergio Ramos, Mendes, Verratti, Ferreira, Hakimi, Sarabia, Lionel Messi, Neymar. And we'll come back to this. I just want to quickly show you two of the formations so that we can kick things off in regards to these roles and how it's not sterile. This is Spurs back three: Romero, Eric Dyer, Davies, Emerson, Bentancur, Højbjerg, Sessegnon, Kulusevski, Son, Kane. I mean, you saw both of these lineups from Spurs and PSG. The personnel, and let's now talk about from your tactical board as well, the roles. The players you see on the wing backs, Hakimi and Mendes, with the ball, they're actually wingers. Like they're wingers. Yes, they have the capacity to defend, of course. But in football, in any side, whether it be a formation of 4-3-3, you still need to have a way to defend. Like wingers will still need to come back and defend. So I don't understand why that concept of when we see players like Ruben Loftus-Cheek or Callum Hudson-Odoi, even Pulisic at times, or why they're in wing backs. I understand there is a heavy load of being up and down, but that's that comes down to a manager then finding out a way how you can control the match. But yeah, looking at this setup and the Spurs setup, Ryan, I mean, just tell us how the roles, is it really sterile playing three at the back?
Well, I think you need to think about the, how each team plays. With Spurs, I would say they keep a low to mid block and they counter attack, right? Which is completely different from what PSG plays, which is possession based football, and with a medium to high line that Bayern Munich plays with a medium to high line, what Inzaghi's Inter plays with medium to high line, and what Chelsea plays with a medium to high line. So while Conte is very effective, I want you all to say something, right, with Conte. I wouldn't even do it on tactical board because I'll mess up everything to make this a low block. But people say that against Everton, it was just our attacking three who had to do everything on the breakaway. But I mean, let's be real here. Do you expect 5 people to be waiting in attack to counter attack in any team in world football, whether it's a 4-2-2-2, a 4-4-2, a 4-3-3? It's only 2 to 3 maximum attackers in that breakaway.
Correct.
Your fullbacks isn't really there on the breakaway. It's your front three and maybe one midfielder. You'll get maximum in breakaways. And that's all comes down to 1v1 ability, link up play, etc. on the breakaway. It looked so sterile, as people said, because unfortunately the only one who could go 1v1 in our team right now is someone who wasn't here last year. That's Sterling. So so I don't understand where the argument came from against Everton, because we were playing a mid block and we were trying to break away into space. They didn't really sit back against us.
Yeah, they didn't. They 100% didn't sit back. And you're right, man. I mean, do you remember Erling Haaland's goal, the second one against West Ham? How it was from a transition. Like West Ham, I think, had the ball, and then City nicked the ball off through, might have been Gundogan or Rodri. Then they laid the ball off to KDB, and KDB from deep saw the run of Erling Haaland and caught them out. That was a classic. People will say, Man City, they're so good at finding, they can open up low blocks, this, that. That wasn't even a low block. That was actually West Ham quite high up because they were with the ball. But in transition, City broke so quickly and they literally did the job with 2 people, which was KDB and Erling Haaland. So I completely understand what you mean, man. Shall we go to the tactical board just to showcase why the back three and the roles as well is not sterile, and some of these roles is not any different to what we see in other formations as well?
Yeah, sure. So I'm just going to preface this illustration by saying that I'm going to illustrate here Nagelsmann 3-4-3, but I would say that this 3-4-3 is identical to Tuchel's 3-4-3 at PSG. Could this be a German school thing? Could this be what they teach in the German football coaches tactically? Maybe. But I'm going to show you how a 3-4-2-1 under Tuchel and how it looked under Nagelsmann too supposed to look.
By the way, this was the Tuchel's 3-4-3 at PSG. I know people are looking at Choupo-Moting, but Just imagine that's Mbappe.
Mbappe, yeah.
But this is more or less the 3-4-3 he played at
And
PSG.
imagine Gay by Draxler is like Gay Verratti.
Yep.
And the back three would be Kimpembe, Marquinhos, and Silva. So yeah, up top would be Neymar and Mbappe. Yeah, so you get the point,
Yeah,
right?
you get the point. You get
So
the point. Yeah.
I'm gonna illustrate why there's a 3 and a 2 and how it's supposed to look, right? So first off, it's a 3-2 setup, right? The purpose of this 3-2, I deciphered it into a 4-1-4-1, right? Or 4-5-1 here, because that's probably one of the most difficult blocks to break down in world football, right? So the reason that Tuchel has a 3-2 base is simple. One, it allows Tuchel's football and even Bayern. So when I say Tuchel, be synonymous with Bayern and Nagelsmann. It allows a launch point. These 5 players create perfect angles to be a vertical launch point for attacks, right? So with these 5 players here, through ball retention and recycling, what it actually does is it draws in the opposition's press, right? It draws in the opposition's press. What that does now, if you realize, Miz, is that it opens the half spaces. It opens the half spaces free. From there, whether if you're building play, say from the left-hand side, for example, one of Tuchel's number 10, let's say Mason Mount, since Mason Mount is being played out of position, right?
Yep.
Mason Mount would have to drop into midfield here to be that free man in midfield, right?
Yep.
What would have to happen though, Miz, is that, see that wing back there? He would have to keep the width, and all of a sudden, he outnumber the opposition's fullback. 2v1, right? And well, this guy here, I know you're saying he could close down here, but this is exactly what happens with the other 10 would come into a number 10 position, and your other winger, a wing back, sorry, would act as a winger. So now this fullback here is engaged with that wing back, so he can't mark this person here, and he would come down.
And you've also outnumbered in midfield with that defensive midfielder, that red cone. Yeah.
So normally this in Bayern Munich was Gnabry, here was Müller, here was here was probably like Koeman or somebody or whatever, Müller, etc. Davies here, Lewandowski here, right? So now you have 2v1 for the fullback, 2v1 for the DM, and 2v1 for the opposition's fullback.
Perfect.
And with the striker acting in a horizontal way to be that last man to make that final run, right? If you watch here, you would see it's a 3-4-3 diamond, right? You could say it's a 3-1-3-3 or 3-3-1-3, but in essence, it's a 3-4-3 diamond, right? A 4 diamond midfield, and this diamond midfield doesn't only keep centrally. Yeah, sometimes you could create it. You could create through having a let me show you, Miz. You could create through having a wide diamond, right? A wide diamond here, and all of a sudden your winger becomes your wide winger. Your fullback becomes an inverted fullback. Chilwell, Hudson-Odoi. You have Kovacic and Jorginho. All of a sudden you have your other 10 Mason Mount here. You have your Reece James. You have your Havertz here. And it's a 3-4-3 diamond from wide areas to allow you to create play from a wide overload. Now, Miz, now people will be like, well, this looks easy enough, but I never see Mason Mount with so much space, right? I never see. But if you recall last season, our attackers had space, but what changed, Miz? Tell me what changed. Let me see if you can figure it out.
Our attackers had space. What changed?
Not last season, the Champions League season, they had space, but last season they didn't have space. What changed?
The opposition basically figured out.
Yes.
Yeah.
So instead of doing a 4-5-1, what you'd see oppositions doing against Chelsea now to match their width, they defend with a 5 at the back.
Yeah.
So I want to say something. One of the main points why that system works so well against a 4 at the back is the overloads. I showed you 2v1 against the fullback, 2v1 against the DM, 2v1 against the opposite fullback side.
Yep.
Now, what teams do against us is this is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, a 5-4-1 block. How many times we see a 5-4-1 block against Chelsea?
Always,
Right.
almost every game now.
So now what would happen now is that we would have our 3-2 base. Yes, we would attract the press. We would attract the press. We would attract the press. But the press would kind of turn into a 5-2-3 or sometimes a 5-3-2. But let's, for the sake of this video, do a 5-3-2 because
Yeah.
that's how it is most of the times, right? So a 5-3-2 in press. All of a sudden, you see now is that, Miz, if you realize, is that say we're attacking from this way, right, Miz? Now we realize is that there isn't an overload on each fullback or each wing back anymore.
Yeah.
What you realize here is that your wing back has to go 1v1 and your winger has to go 1v1.
Yeah.
And there isn't that overload anymore because
There's
now
no
there's an
outnumbering.
extra.
You're not outnumbering anyone anymore.
Yeah, there's an extra man onto your player, right?
Yeah.
And this is where the responsibility comes from the attacker. Is that when
I love
Kovacic
it. I love
passes to Mason Mount here,
it.
what is Mason Mount's job? This is for 5 marks. You get a
He
star.
he has to be able to draw that defender, turn him, and take him on. Because there are
5
no other.
marks. Well done.
Because there is no way he doesn't have he can't unless we have elite passing movement, and that's the other thing. And slowly we're going to get to the personnel, but yeah, carry on, Ryan. I think I know where
We
we're
have
going with this.
Kovacic here, we have G5, and then I want people to realize now that, listen, wait, we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 players in the opposition's second and final third. We have a 3-1 formation in defense. So realistically, in a 4 at the back, you would still have, say, you would still have a fullback and 2 CBs and your DM left back to have a 3-1 formation in defense or a 2-2 formation in defense. But the same numbers applies. 4 in defense, 6 in attack, which City does, which Liverpool does, which Chelsea does. But the thing is here now, because Kovacic doesn't stay here.
Yeah.
How many times we see Kovacic come here, we would see our...
Always.
So now,
Always.
it is the job of Mason Mount here to act on the turn and release Havertz in behind. All of a sudden, this guy here who would be, release Werner in behind. Havertz would be second striker, or wing back would probably be next number 10, etc. All of a sudden now, you have a beautiful breakaway with 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 players in and around the box.
But bottom line, what you're saying,
But what was the first thing that was needed for this to happen?
You need someone to be able to take the man on, that LM.
Okay,
that, you know.
So now that was Mason Mount. I am using Mason Mount as an example.
Let's use Havertz, because Havertz was on that side as well against Everton. It's the same case. He won't take his man on.
Let's move on from the winger, because you see that for the wing back, the same thing applies.
Correct.
The same thing applies. Now, you would say that you could have this guy make a run, but now, this is where I want to get into. When this winger makes a run, is Pulisic out of position here for 5 marks?
No way he's out of position.
Isn't everybody said Pulisic is a wide winger? He can't be in number 10 regions. That's sad.
That's his position.
So for 5 marks, it's a yes or no. Is this Pulisic's position? Is this Hudson-Odoi's position or not?
That is their natural habitat. That
and
left
from
side.
here, what is the job of CHO, the chosen one, and Pulisic, Captain America?
Take your man on. Take them on.
Exactly. And worst case, but your wing back, say Mason Mount drops in here to overload midfield. Your wing back supposed to also be able to make that run and take on
their job? And what's their job?
Because that's what Davies would do in Bayern. That's what Bernat would do. That's what Hakimi would do. That's what that's what James would not do.
Chilwell's not capable of taking his man on either. Even a fit Chilwell is not capable of.
I think
dribbling
Chilwell
past.
could do it really well with his physicality. And I think it allows him to do a job there. But when it comes down to dribbling and stuff, he doesn't have that techers, obviously.
That's what I'm saying. That's what I'm saying about Chilwell. And similarly with Reece
So
James as
now
well.
there, I just okay. So now is the time for everybody in the comments to call me a waffler, because the 2 points is one, there's not enough players in attack. I just proved that wrong. And two, you said players don't play in their position. I proved that wrong. So now the best thing you could do now is insult me. So I'll give you a couple seconds to
We'll
insult
give
me.
everyone a couple of seconds to insult myself and Ryan. But Ryan, getting into so what we've now demonstrated, as you've said, there's plenty of people in attack. It's definitely not sterile. Like, it gives a good balance with and without the ball in transition. If you were to lose the ball in any of those areas, because obviously the defensive line won't be that deep with the ball, so it'd be further up. So you're trying to keep it all compact. It gives you enough time to win the ball back as well. And this is what Man City does. And as you said, Man City, how many times have we seen Kyle Walker not always bomb up? Like, he is part of
Yeah,
either
he is
being as
a back three
he's a
or
back
that
three,
CM or that wide
yeah,
CM.
or a wide
Right.
CM. He's part of the
Ve-
midfield, or he's part of the
Very
back three.
rarely in world football would you see two fullbacks attack at once.
No, it's very, very rare. So,
Miss, before we move on, I have one more point to make before we get really tactical board and do some punditry, right?
yeah.
There was some stat someone brought up to me, and they said, RG, Ryan, we have they are the worst, one of the worst stats in the league for touches inside the box. And I said, my friend, my brother in Christ, that the only way you could have touches in the box is if you get the ball inside the box. Whose responsibility it is to get the ball inside the box? You have to beat this man first.
Yeah.
You have to beat this man first. People say you have to look for individual brilliance. I say, okay, watch Bayern Munich play and watch Barcelona play. They have the best wingers in the world. They have Dembele, Coman in each team.
Yeah.
Watch how much people is next to them when they receive the ball. How much of their teammates. At most, you'd see one fullback next to them. But you know where you're going to see 2 and 3 people next to Dembele. Why? It's a waste of time and space. Why? Because Dembele doesn't need 2 and 3 men next to him.
He don't need that.
What Dembele would do, my friend, is this. He would tear apart these 2 brothers here, right? Get the ball to this region here. No, he would tear apart these 2 brothers and he would probably cut inside here.
Yep.
And now, since you don't need every man jack to be around Dembele like this, like some people want to spoon feed our attackers, all of a sudden you'd see, oh wait, Pedri's in a number 10 position. Somebody's in a number 10 position.
But it's not a coincidence. It's not a coincidence that Barcelona end up having at least 3 to 4 players when Dembele breaks into the box. Like, there's literally 3 or 4 players in the box.
And the point I want to drive home is, since you don't need to waste your players next to Dembele like this, all of a sudden, what you would see is that here Dembele could either go straight forward and cross, or having 2 number 10s on the edge of the box along with 2 attackers and 1 wing back, 1 fullback opposite, allows you to play that tiki-taka football into the final third. You need bodies in these 2 number 10 positions. And let me tell you something. In Tuchel's philosophy, in his PSG attack, in a 3-4-2-1, he did have that, right? I know I mix it up with the positions here, but let's just we would have Neymar here, we'd have wing back, we would probably have Verratti up here, we would have the other wing back, we would probably have Di Maria here, and Mbappe.
Yeah.
Right? So let me show you something, my brothers in Christ, once again.
Just so people get a bit of understanding, I just want to quickly show them this is what the lineup under Tom Tuchel used to be for PSG. So they get an understanding.
So now, because he didn't need 5 or 6 men around Neymar, to help Neymar beat his 1 to 2 men. Because I'm saying, everybody says 1v1 statistics. Let me tell you something. The best wingers in it will have to be able, the minimum is to beat one man.
Yeah.
But the best wingers in the world for the best teams in Europe have to be able to beat 2 and even 3. That's what Vinicius does. That's what Rafael Leao does. That's what Kingsley Coman does. Right? That's what Dembele does. That's not what we do. And so I want to show you all that for Chelsea now, when we have Mason Mount here, and I'll single out Mason Mount because it makes people more angry and I like to make people angry.
I love
So when we have Mason Mount here now, we need to baby him. But you know what? It's unfair because Mason Mount is not a winger, a pure winger, right? But I showed you that where is Mason Mount here? He's in a number 10 position, right?
it.
Everybody says he's this attacking 8 who will get into number 10 positions. Okay, well, at this point here, he is in number 10 positions with his body
100%.
facing goal.
100%.
So how is Mason Mount out of position here? For 5 marks.
He's not.
Trick question, he's not.
He's
so
not.
so what would happen here is this, right? What Chelsea would do, right? Sorry, just let me organize this defense here so it can make more sense. What Chelsea would do is that because Mason Mount cannot take on one man for less with 2, what would happen is that we need to baby him. We need Alonso here. We need Kova right next to him.
Yep.
We need Mason here. We need
How many
Aubameyang.
times have we seen this setup, Ryan? How many times we saw? Like, no one in the live chat can lie about this. We saw this live all last season. Cover on that left side as that sort of like an LDM, wing back Alonso wide. Like, there's literally bodies all around all our players.
Or on our winger. Why? Because they can't beat their man. But not only their winger, the wing back too. We need bodies around Reece James. We need Havertz and Mount next to Reece James. Why? Because Reece James can't beat his man. Simple as that. So are you saying Reece James is not good enough to be a wing back? No, I'm saying he's not good enough to be a wide wing back. If you have a wide winger next to him who could do that 1v1 job, I think Reece James could do brilliantly from inverted positions like Alexander Arnold. But yeah, so if you watch here, we have 2 people next to Mason Mount. All of a sudden now what you see is that there's no number 10s to play tiki-taka football in the final third. Here's empty, right? All of a sudden there's just a line of 4 or 5 against the defenders, against not a back 4 but a back 5, right? All of a sudden you see, so what could we do? Well, we can't cross into Havertz and Ziyech because those brothers got ahead to save their life. So what we would do is that, we would just pass back then.
And also the other thing, Ryan, in this setup, just leave it like that for a second. In this setup, ladies and gentlemen, as you can see, you lose the ball. Let's say the ball is in that LM position, whoever it is, Mason Mount, Havertz. You lose that ball there. Look at all the red players ready to pounce. And this is why when we lose the ball in those possession in those areas, in transition, we kind of get caught up at times because the opposition knows we don't have players that are going to be able to take on their men. And if they can nick the ball, they could potentially hurt us. If we had brothers that were able to take on the man and create chaos, then those red things that you're seeing there would not be as potent as we have seen in recent times. The other thing that I wanted to say as well, just remember, some of you guys in the live chat might be saying, but Ryan, we played excellent with this 3 at the back against Leicester last season against Juventus. But if you remember what we said, many teams have now started to put 5 at the back. And if you recall that Leicester game and Juventus game, I don't think they've managed to defend in the manner that some of the teams are managing to defend now. Especially Leicester, I don't think they had 5. They were defending with 5. That's why we were able to go behind them with those overloads, as we explained earlier on in the video. So a lot more teams have started to figure out to stifle Chelsea. This is what you got to do, because now I want to bring you guys the personnel. People talk, like, literally Ryan has just spent the last 15 to 20 minutes explaining why the 3 at the back is not a sterile situation. It can be very exciting, but you need the personnel. And this is what we want to talk about now, personnel. This is the PSG team under Thomas Tuchel. Look at
Yo,
every
just
single
imagine
player.
Mbappe as a striker. That's really bothering me.
Yeah,
And just imagine Gay is next to Verratti, and imagine Kimpembe, Marquinhos, Silva at the back, right?
yeah. Imagine all that, because this is just one of the things that we've put out. This is the Spurs lineup as well. Look at the front three: Kulusevski, Kane, Son. Kulusevski loves to take his man on. Son will take his man on. Kane is just stupendous player, not just a lethal striker, but someone who can drop deep and create havoc as well. Their wing backs, they love bombing forward, and they too have the ability to take their players on, you know, regardless of how many times they're successful. But that's what their role is. Now have a look at this lineup. This is the lineup that we had against Everton. Besides Sterling, and maybe you can say Kante from midfield, but Kante only does that when we are on a break. It's not like Kante on a standstill position will take players on and break things up. Besides Sterling, not a single one of our players, Havertz, Mount, Chilwell, Reece James, Chilwell for other reasons now because he's just coming back from injury. Reece James, as well as he does play on that right wing back position, it's well documented. He can't take his man. How many times he's been 1v1 and he's been unable to take his man on? The only time he looks really good when we actually set him off free. There's no one on him. Ryan, how important people misunderstand, and this is something that you've been driving as well in recent times, even when I've said that, Thomas Tuchel still needs to get something out of these attackers. I've said that, and you've come up with a rebuttal that means he literally can't with this set of players. I mean, how important are the personnel, Ryan? We've just showcased Spurs lineup, PSG's lineup under Thomas Tuchel. We've seen Bayern Munich's one. How important are these personnel to actually carry out the style of football that Thomas Tuchel wants?
Just bring back my tactical board, please.
Yeah, we're not done yet.
Yeah, we're not done yet. Class isn't dismissed yet. Right? No, I just want to show. When you talk about the quality of our attackers, I just want to bring up two little quotes along with a little visual here. Take a couple of minutes, right? Take 2 minutes. Let me just bring back everybody, right? Guys, come back.
Bring them all back, bro. Bring them back.
Yeah. So what I'd say is that Tuchel, right? I would say Tuchel's build-up play, right? With his 3-2 formation is one of the crispest in world football. The crispest.
Thank you. Yeah.
I would say you even watch Conte's three at the back. Watch Bayern's three at the back. I would say the way we watch PSG's three at the back, I say the way we build play, it's drilled. And that's the job of the manager there. Because the job, Pep once said, the job of the manager is to take you to the final third. Everything there is spontaneous. Meaning when the ball goes to the final third, it's up to the attackers. We have 5 people in attack. We have them positioned correctly. It's up for them to do the job, right?
Yeah.
Thing is, I just showed you how we have them in correct positions and why we go wrong because they don't have the ability. I always say it like this. Football is like a race. The manager and coaches would run the first 300 meters in a relay, right?
Yeah.
They would take that baton from the first 100, second 100, the third 100. But you see, when the baton is the first 100, second 100, third 100. From this point on, brothers, it's up to the attackers to take that baton and run and finish that race. From here, it's not the manager's job anymore because they did the setup. They got the ball to the final third. It's up to the attackers. If you watch Ancelotti, how he plays football, you think he has any tactics in the final third? Exact? No. He gives Vinicius and Benzema freedom to act and play football.
There is no way you can tactically tell Vinicius what he's doing. Like, because that's what he does. Like, you can't get a
people
tactical
used to
board
tell
out and
Thierry
say,
Henry what to do. It think Mourinho used to tell Cristiano and those guys what to do. And Mourinho said that too. His job as a manager is not to teach footballers how to play football.
Simple.
He said he's not there to teach people how to control the ball, etc. You have literally people calling for Tuchel's head to improve Hudson-Odoi to turn. Tuchel isn't a number as a winger. I think Tuchel's gonna receive the ball and turn and show Hudson Odoi to
By
do
the
it.
way, Ryan, have you seen recently that why hasn't Tuchel developed our attackers? He's been able to do that with the defenders. Why
He
hasn't
isn't
he
a
able to?
kindergarten coach teaching people how to play football. He's a world-class manager at the highest level. And the thing is, Mourinho said this: I don't teach footballers how to play football. I teach them how to play my football. They already know how to play football. The attackers already know what to do. Now, the thing is, I said the baton. They have to finish that race. We need attackers who could finish that race, do it, who could beat their man and create something, right? Um, we don't have that style of attacker except for Sterling in our team. We
Yeah.
don't have it, and that's something that we need to look at. We need to really look at that. Hudson Odoi, Ziyech, Pulisic, Mason Mount, Havertz. They don't do that.
Look at this. Look at this current PSG setup, Brian. Look at this. Forget about that Sarabia. It's probably going to be Mbappe on the right, Messi maybe on the left, and Neymar through the middle. Maybe sometimes Messi in the middle. It'll be fluid. I want people to understand. Look at this, man to man, and look at this, man to man. Defensively, fine, but it's that up front. And no one's saying, oh, Miz, it's very unrealistic to get these players. Of course it's unrealistic. No one's saying to get these players, but we're talking about the profile. We're talking about the profile of players. We need to start understanding so many things we've talked about in this particular video. One, 3 at the back is not sterile. If anything, I think it can be very potent with and without the ball if played correctly. A lot of the teams actually do that. We just don't see it, as we've already mentioned. Man City do that with Kyle Walker making a 3 at the back, or sometimes even in midfield. But it's very important to understand, ladies and gentlemen, roles. How many times Ryan has shown in his tactical board where those wing backs are positioned, or even where the 10s are positioned? How is it any different? You know, sometimes we talk about Mason Mount being out of position, Callum Hudson-Odoi. How is it any different to those brothers if they were playing in their so-called natural position? It's no different. We have to understand roles. We have to understand the personnel. The personnel is the most important. That's just my final thought, that we don't have the personnel.
At Chelsea, I'll close on this.
Yeah.
At Chelsea, we're supposed to have world-class players in each position. And what we should be fine-tuning, separating the sheep from the goat, is by saying which players have end product and which players don't. Because we only want players with end product. Guys, listen, we haven't even reached end product yet with this team, with these attackers. Why? Because we're looking for them to have the first half of the product, the first product, the initial product. We simply asking our wingers to be able to take on one man. What is the best teams looking for? Wingers who could take on 2 to 3 men. We are looking for players who could make one pass in behind. What are the best teams in the world looking for? Number 10s who could break 2 lines of defense with crosses. We are looking for players who could link play with a silky touch. The other best teams in the world have number 9s who take on them and shoot from outside the box and score from nothing.
Yeah.
A volley from nothing, a shot from the edge of the box from nothing. The standard of Chelsea fans in this 2-3 years is shocking, because as my Chelsea, I want my Chelsea to be on top. But some people have this weird obsession. It's kind of like parents watching the children, and they don't really care how well the team does. They just want the children to make it in the team. They don't care if the children is probably lame and it has better players they could get from other schools to come in and make this team win a trophy. They don't care about the trophy. They want the children to make it. For some reason, Chelsea Twitter and these guys, they have this obsession where they project personalities onto players who they don't know and who's probably not the best human beings in the world. I don't know. But we've seen that many footballers aren't, probably. And you project personalities in them, you pedestalize them, and you fail to watch them for what they are, which is you're supposed to watch footballers as footballers. for their skill, what they bring to the pitch. A lot of people treat Mason Mount like the child. They want to see him grow up and become a legend. Havertz, Hudson-Odoi, Gallagher. At the end of the day, I don't really care about any of these players. I care about Chelsea FC, my football club. I don't care about any name or number on that sheet. I care about my Chelsea being number 1 in the Premier League in Europe. That's what I care about. And that's why I don't tweet much or do anything like that. You know why? Because I have no agendas. I have no obsessions. My agenda and my obsession is that Chelsea could be number 1. I don't care who it is, where they come from, what country they're from. If they are the club from 6 years old or 36 years old. I don't care. Once they could win me trophies and the type of players we need, you can see the type of players Tuchel is looking for, given the freedom to pick. We should trust them. It'll be a process. It will take multiple windows, but believe that we're on the right path. This season is fringe attackers who you like, you wouldn't mind letting go. Like Werner, Hudson-Odoi, right? Ziyech. But next season, don't be surprised if it's your favorites heading out the door. Pulisic, Havertz, maybe even Mason Mount. Because at the end of the day, if I had to pick a front 3 and a midfield 3, a 4-3-3, which everybody wants to pick, right? And say that we would have the personnel fit. Let me tell you, none of our midfielders, none of our attackers making that front 3.
Yeah.
If you pick a front, if you want to compete for a title, none of our attackers making that front 3. And I would say, give me 3 world-class midfielders. Mason Mount isn't making that midfield 3 anyway. So you need to be realistic here and see what quality does Chelsea need without your agenda being behind it, and if these players really fit that quality. Because I only care about one thing: are you good enough or are you not good enough? Show me you're good enough or not. Fabregas plays as a false 9 for Spain and Barcelona. Was he a false 9? No. But he turned when he got the ball and he played those passes and he did one hell of a job and won them trophies. He won Spain the Euros as a false 9. He won trophies at Barcelona as a false 9. Havertz, when you get the ball, what do? You pass it back. You don't turn, you don't try anything. I don't care about silky touches. Bro, I care about world-class players in my team. I don't care about names or numbers. That's it. I'll back my manager because I believe in his ability. And I know he strives for excellence doing his players. And he just realizes that our players are not excellent and he can't change that. So it's either he change players or change his manager. And I know which one I'm ready to change.
Oh, what a dialogue, ladies and gentlemen. What a dialogue. Honestly, some of you guys, take a moment before you reply, before you comment, before you write anything on the live chat. Just take a moment and understand what Ryan just said and what we talked about in this whole video. Don't get all hot-headed as soon as you hear this. Like, none of us have in this particular video slandered anyone, abused anyone at all. We've simply put out what is actually not clicking. I'm not going to add anything else to what Ryan just said because that was absolutely well put. Hope you guys have enjoyed this. Hope you guys can get something out of this video. And I'm hoping to see some really, really interesting comments. Smash the like button. Make sure you follow Ryan on Twitter. And he still has that YouTube channel. Obviously, he will launch it sometime very, very soon or whenever he's ready to do so. But you best believe there will be videos coming on his channel. Make sure you subscribe to his channel, get him to 1,000 subscribers. And if you're here for the first time, subscribe to my channel as well. Until next time, everyone, take care. See ya.